What's going on, guys, and welcome back. So whether you're on Discord, something Yu-Gi-Oh, something Four Guys, something group chat, Nathan, Carlos, Anastasis, thank you guys for all of our discussions and everything, and change ideas moving forward, or the Facebook post where I posted that deck list that so many people just don't quite understand. I wanted to show the replays from the tournament I played it in. It was a Dragon Rider Games tournament. Link down below to come play in tournaments like these. They're great competitive testing. Winner of this tournament walked away with $81. We end up, as you saw in the title and saw in the post, we end up taking second. So our round one opponent, it was just 8-man tournament. Like, you pay your entry fee, and then the winner gets the big prize at the end. So really good competitive testing though, and good for all those things. I'm hiding their hands because I want you guys to know what I had so I can explain as we kind of go. So coming out here, he summons Alistair, searches Invocation, grabs the Secure Garden, and then standard Alistair plays. I'm assuming he's also on Dogmatica, DPE, all those fun things. And here I just wanted to save the Lancia for right here, because you chain the Lancia to it so he can't banish from field grave. So one of two things happen. Like, he either, well, we're going to show his hand just to make sure you didn't cheat. You have to use your hand in this scenario if you can resolve it. Like, so say he had another Alistair in hand, he would actually have to use Alistair and Ash to go into like a Purgatrio, and that's just like really unfortunate for him. Obviously he doesn't here, so it just doesn't do anything. He does set the 2 Imperm now that we know what he had. We draw into Cyber Dragon Hearse for turn, which is pretty good. We're gonna Cyber Dragon combo, wombo, Soldier here, and then we'll actually get hit by Ash and Imperm, which isn't the worst thing in the world. And you might say, why didn't I call by grave the Ash? Because then I still would have been able to get Cyber Dragon, but getting Cyber Dragon doesn't do anything in this situation. So we just go for DPE instead. Plus, being able to call by the grave Alistair is just pretty good, because you can obviously negate it for the next turn on the off chance that he gets another copy. So we're going to go attack. It's not going to deal any damage. And then DPE effect. He's just going to chain the Imperm. Negate it. We will set our 1 copy of Call by the Grave, pass turn back to him. He doesn't chain, he activates Feather Duster, so we're going to chain it, get rid of that Alistair, because now if he happens to have Alistair in hand, guess what? It's dead. This does, however, give him the chance to use his Invocation to get the Alistair back. So what's he going to do though? Because he can't really use the effect, we do draw into Impermanence. So now we go normal, or just turn our Galaxy Soldier. Wow, sorry, it is really late, guys, and I've been doing a lot. Super sick, awesome Phantom Knights playmat in the works. I have it on the way. I'm going to see if it turns out as good as I really hope it does. I don't know how I did this, guys. I'm probably never going to do something this good again. It turned out freaking amazing, and I'm pretty excited for it. Set the Imperm for that Alistair that we just gave to him. And then we're going to go Imperm the Alistair. He's going to then admit defeat. So we win game 1. Making comments about the main deck Lancia. Like, for this tournament, guys, too, I'm not saying, obviously, we open Lancia again. Neither one of these hands were, like, super amazing, but both are okay. But, so, like, this is what I always talk about, like, not showing side decks and like deck building. Like, you have to know where you're playing for deck building. Like, this is an 8-man cash tournament, so I basically say, these guys are meta players, they're high level players, they're gonna be playing one of the best 4 decks or so. So it's like immediately it's like Striker, Bird Up, and Invoked. Those are the decks I prepare for, while having side options or things for other decks. But it's really expecting those decks, especially because 2 of the people I already have played them before and know what decks they're on. So you kind of get a feel for what people are playing, and then you can go about it that way. But that played huge into the deck building portion here, and again, we'll go into the deck later. I did not chain the Lancia this time. Like, sometimes I'll shotgun it. This matchup, obviously here he's got the prosperity, he's going to go for it, but my hand is super awkward, and I can draw and lock him. Like, that was kind of my plan, is draw and lock, and I play 3 soldiers, so I could still make infinity if I need to, and just having that extra option. Plus, I do have the droplet, and worst case scenario, if I have to use the Lancia, I will. But after the draw, he sets 3, we draw a rev system. That's not going to help. We set the droplet. Just trying to survive. I don't want to commit my whole hand to making infinity because he set 3, so there's no way it's actually going to go through. Then he does have the Alistair. Goes via invocation. Link it, and then we're going to do kind of like we did before, just to make it so where, you know, he can't do it. Then he sets another one, pass. We draw Kaiju for turn. We pass it back, just trying to not lose, because we do still have that droplet set. And then we draw a fear for turn. So things are actually looking up for us. We normal summon the fear. Then we make our mega fleet. Rev system back the fear. Galaxy Soldier. What I should have done here, just because it's invoked Dogmatica, is go into a Verde, because assuming then he would, and I could even use the Verde, because he's going to have to, you know, imperm or punishment it. I mean, there can be only one, so that's going to be really good. But he had the imperm and the punishment. Like, assuming he would have had at least one of these two, going into Verde, like, you could force it out, and then I still could have saved my infinity play for after. But him having the there can be only one was just pretty good. I mean, it actually turns out he didn't use it. This match was a few days ago. Rounds typically are given 3 days to play out a round. It doesn't usually take that long, but sometimes it does. Game 2 clearly isn't going our way. We're gonna go, you know, at this point he's just gonna pop off. We do still have the imperm, so I don't like to necessarily just quit, because, you know, you never know. But imperm, droplet, nothing else to really do there. Opening Lancia again, like, these 2 cards loved me in this tournament, so I'm not gonna say that it didn't help a lot, because it did. But, you know, that's part of the game. It's RNG at the end of the day. Kind of opening like everything we need. Since we have the Fusion Destiny and the Sanctum, however, in our hand, we can go make our Nova, detach, bring the hers back, and then attach the hers, because there's really no point in going into a Verde play or anything like that. So then we can go and get our Phoenix, and then we set that. Standby phase now. This time we're going to go ahead and use the Lancia just to turn off like prosperity. Did it actually matter? He must have drew Droll for turn. No, it did not. So having that Lancia didn't do anything. We summon the Sanctum. Then we use the effect of the Scythe in the new chain. Was kind of surprised he didn't, like, after seeing how the rest of this comes out, like, he could have easily, I mean, shoot, droplet would send what, 1, he'd keep the mine, yeah, I guess, never mind, because he would lose his whole hand to kind of out it. So I do understand. He plays the Mystic Mine, and then at that point chain the infinity, send the Alistair. But oh man, I don't, yeah, that's because if he'd have to negate out of 2, so he would have lost everything just to have mine with Fusion Destiny. So I guess that was the proper call. But he ends up having Mystic Mine, so now we get to try and do our fun stuff. DPE obviously gets destroyed by Fusion Destiny in the end phase, does not get to activate, so it does not come back. Just linking down on my turn. Then we're going to let him pop he pops Mystic Mind because he tried to push for game and pop Infinity. But once you Fusion Destiny, you can only summon Dark Heroes for the rest of the turn, so he actually locked himself out. He wasn't trying to, obviously, but he did. So now main phase, we're going to be okay. Use the effect of core, banish to summon out. Next play, next play, next play. Naxxer. Naxxer then going to summon out Cyber Dragon Nova, or attempt to. Now he uses Enforcer here, which, I mean, he has to, because otherwise I just go for Infinity and I can negate it. And obviously his set card is a bluff. Chaining Enforcer and Nova. And at this point, we do still have the Overload Fusion, so we just bring out the Makaba since we're gonna, you know, make the Rampage Dragon anyway. And that would actually be game, as Draw in Hand's not gonna matter. So let's go on to our second round. As you can see, the Apex Avian is obviously bird up. Emergency, Naxxer, Kaiju, Fear, and Cyber Dragon. We'll talk about these in the deck list afterwards. Try and go a little bit faster through this one. He opens up with Desires, drawing 2, Tanky, Fractal. Kind of just going to have to let him completely pop off because there's nothing we can do about it, right? Like, this is kind of my thought right now is, okay, I got a bunch of extenders. I got Kaiju. What's he going to do? I'm like assuming Draco Future. I know they can go for the Robin for negating summons, and then Apex Avian. DD Crow obviously too. Just kind of like, which extenders does he have? Can he push through? Yeah, Draco is a pretty big issue to deal with. Ooh, we'll slow this down, slow it down. Okay, so we drew Soldier for turn. We use Cyber Emergency to get to our Cyber Dragon core, which is okay. Special summon out Cyber Dragon, normal core, use the effect. Chain 1, Chain Link 2 Fear, because we can now protect it from either one of them. He actually uses Draco, which has to negate the Fear then instead. Search out the Repair Plant. And now we can go and Kaiju the Avian, because that was already used. Get rid of that negate. And then just because, in case he's got Nibiru, I don't want to like leave him with the Kaiju and the Simorgh Link. So I'll grab hers here before like DD Crow or anything. And some people will actually like chain DD Crow to the Repair Plant, but like I said in the rulings video, Repair Plant only needs a Cyber Dragon and Grave when you activate it, not when you resolve it. So DD Crowing and chain does absolutely nothing. Then we go and make a Fortress, like I said, because now at least if we get Nibiru'd, I mean, I guess if he Nibiru'd, he would lose his board too, but it'd be a much bigger token. Okay, I don't know what I was doing, guys, I guess. Definitely, I had, like, that was kind of my thought process at the time, but now that I'm, you know, watching the replay and actually talking about it, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Anyway, Galaxy Soldier, he chains the DD Crow, banishing the hers, which again, if you saw the ruling video, you would now know hers will not trigger. But we have that Fear in hand still, so we go and summon Galaxy Soldier. Then make our Nova effect detach. We could have even sent the Naxxer and then revive the Naxxer, and then Naxxer could have revived Cyber Dragon, but I'd rather have the follow-up in my hand because we have enough for game here anyway. And he's going to actually scoop. He's going to pick first. No big surprises here. And we open Imperm, Fear, Overload, Nibiru, and hers. Nibiru is not that great versus the matchup. Why leave it in if it's not very good? I didn't have the most going second cards to side, and I don't remember. I know I only left like 1 or 2 copies of Nibiru in, and I happened to open it, but I opened it with Imperm, which is actually really good. So we're just going to kind of let him pop off at this point and do basically everything, and then he'll have the Draco for the negate, and we'll Nibiru, and then just chain the Imperm and negate it that way. Keeping in mind though too, since if he will have the extenders in hand, if you Nibiru them, like when they attempt to go to the end phase, you did not agree to do it, so then they will be able to go back to the main phase since you technically never left it to go back to it, and then continue playing. So the Canary, and then he's going to go into his assembled Nightingale. So he's trying to just not lose this turn is the game plan, because you use its effect and they can't be destroyed by battle or card effects for that turn. We send the Hers Soldier, again opening pretty decent. He's actually going to use the Harpy's Feather Storm here. We have a pretty big misplay. So game plan here, like I was saying in my head, I had the whole game plan, everything figured out. So it's normal summon Fear, and Nibiru into Dagda just to get them off the board and get the extra Cyber Dragon monster engrave. Overload Fusion to summon out Rampage, make Nova attack, like just attack, and then make Infinity first, doesn't really matter. Make Infinity attack and then overlay for Zeus. And you'll see here in a second, like I was saying that in my head, and like that was my plan, and instead I sent them to the grave. I was like, oh, I must be summoning Seeger, and I was like, wait a second, that's not gonna work. So I do end up scooping here in a second because I misplayed Droll and Karis, so really depending on his draw for what he would be able to do, but not really a whole lot. Like had I played it out how I wanted to, I would have been able to Zeus on his turn, which probably would have been enough to win. So we open Sanctum, we open Droll, we open Celestial, and then obviously we find out at this point he has no hand traps since I turned his hand back on. But game plan here, I have Celestial in hand. I have Sanctum, Droll, Infinity. Sanctum, Droll, Infinity I felt like was going to be strong enough. So kind of like the other time where we actually are going to revive the Hers to get core back for better follow-up, because I didn't want to lose 2,000 life points and that other card out of my hand, because on the off chance that he outs the board, like if he has the Forbidden Droplet to chain negate my Sanctum, or not the Sanctum, but negating the Scythe and the Infinity, and his hand just happens to not need to play into Droll too much, and he ends on like, I don't know, 1 disruption plus even like Zeus or anything, and all of a sudden it's like I might be able to out Zeus easy, but outing Zeus and winning that turn isn't that easy, and he would have full combo anyway. So kind of was my thoughts on why I wanted to have better follow-up and not commit everything in my hand, because overcommitting rarely pays off in competitive play. I've been on both ends of that, so I know it really well. And then we're going to hit him with the Droll there. Pitch the Fractal, send the Cobalt. He's going to normal out his Nerval effect. We're going to negate that with Infinity. Then Hers, get our core back. Just trying to see here, like, if I even needed to use the Sanctum or not yet. And then we see M+2, like, negating with Infinity would potentially force, like, a Forbidden Droplet or something. Whereas if I just shotgun the Sanctum and summon the Scythe, now he can negate it all in one swoop. Like, using the Infinity first either forces it or forces him to, like, continue playing and then disrupt you later, but have less resources to keep doing what he needs. So then the Sanctum comes out on the summon of Karis. Scythe, effective Scythe. Battle phase, then we're just going to activate Almirage. We opened pretty good, and he was a little bit salty, but you can't necessarily blame him. Like, Scythe Lock, it's Scythe Lock. We do it, they do it, everyone does it. So I knew what he was on, and I know he's on Sword Soul, so I wanted to shotgun the Lancia because, on the chance that he has, prosperity, or not prosperity, desires. It also turns off the Tenyi plays. It turns off Protos. It turns off Taya. So it does hit quite a bit. We see the emergence, then Long Young hitting the Vishuda. Like, he could have special summoned the Vishuda. I guess that we're be stopping anything because Vishoot is the going second card to bounce. But he makes a Long Young to go into the Fleur. Normal summon Mo Yi and show he actually opened Proto, so that Lancia is going to put in some work. Special summon token, and then we're going to go for a Cheeksao. Cheeksao then will get Blackout, and he will also draw a card. So I got to play through Monster Negate, Omni Negate, Pop 2. We're going to draw the core, and like, yeah, it's unfortunate that he opened as well as he did, like that he had the way to multiple of them. But I mean, between Emergence, obviously Taya was turned off, but between Mo Yi, Long Young, Emergence, like they have so many different starters to get to that it's not a surprise that they can open 2 more often than not, and that's why it's the best deck of the format. I have changed my opinion. But say he only had the 1, I'd use Called by the Grave to get it out of the grave so that he wouldn't have the Cheeksao negate. And then I'd be able to normal core, force the Fleur, or he doesn't do it, and then I could go into All Mirage. Obviously he would and if he didn't, then I'd be able to like bait him out on the Infinity play with hers and save the Fusion Destiny. Unfortunately, you know, that's hypothetical. Then he negates it the Fleur, and there's really nothing we can do. We set it and hope, but he's not stupid. He uses the Fleur to just pop the Call by the Grave, and game 1 is not really a whole lot we could do. This replay may end up on DB Grinder's channel again, so it'd be my second time with a cash tournament, you know, final being on there. It's not easy, guys. Like, oh man, it's one of these times we gotta win though, right? So we opt to go first, game 2. I side D Barriers and the Sanctum package for going first. With this hand though, like I can play through potentially. Let's say he ashes the Fusion Destiny. I draw 2. If I hit Emergency, Core, Soldier, like there's a pretty good chunk of cards that I could hit to go into combo anyway. So we do, you know, see that he has no ash. We summon DPE, set 2. And now his turn. He's going to go and use that Desires. Like, see, Lancia already would have put in work. But hitting Protoss is so good for Lancia. Like, not saying main deck it anywhere, but if you're expecting, like, lots of Sword Soul, Invoked, Tri Brigade, like, it's not a bad idea. So then he's going to go grab that Taya. Normal summon the Ecclesia, effective Ecclesia. Pop itself, summon out Mo Yi. Revealing the Taya that we already know he has. Get a token, and on that summon we're going to use the Sanctum. Summoning out the Scythe. I do want to show here, show both. I was slightly confused. He drew the Imperm off the Desires, so he could have like initially impermed the Phoenix Enforcer and then had the Chalice for the Scythe. Obviously, you know, knowing everything now like that I have, he may have played it out different, but here there's no point in using Chalice, because if he chains Chalice to Scythe, DPE pop Scythe pop token, and Scythe still resolves. And my guess is that he had Mo Yi, Taya, and Long Young, so he's like, well, I got all 3 of my starters, and I got this off a special summon Ecclesia, so he could still normal Taya, he can still special Long Young. Like, he has everything that he's just, I can power through and then have him perm as a way to stop any follow-up that I might have. That's the only thing I can think of as far as why he played it the way he did. But now we're going to go, because end phase, pop, pop, come back. Draw phase here. Obviously we could just chain it to the hers, but I just wanted to, you know, make sure it sticks to the board. So Dasher, special summon Fear, and then the DPE comes back. Normal summon hers. Link 2 into Verde. Not doing anything with the Mo Yi, because, well, one, like just being afraid if he has an Imperm or something like that. So the Verde, hers effect. And then we're going to go summon out a Rampage off of our Verde. Sending 2, send Rampage, and then Rampage going to send 2 to gain 2 attacks. Once again, guys, this is the third time where if you saw our ruling video, Rampage, keep this in mind, he sent 2, effect resolved, applies a lingering effect. So now we go battle phase, DPE attack, going to go ahead and deal the damage, and then attack. He's going to use the imperm to negate the Rampage, and I say that's fine. It still has 3 attacks. We did check with judges. So Rampage, once it resolves, it applies a lingering effect. He compared it to access code, but gaining an attack stat and gaining more attacks in the turn are not the same. It's kind of like where if you have a Cyber Dragon hers that already resolved, the level 5 is a continuous, like a continual, like if you imperm after, it will go back to being a level 1, but you're still restricted to summoning only machines. It's just the way like stat modification is so confusing in a children's card game. But anyway, as we go and try and get some judges, I do end up telling him that if by chance the Dragon Rider judge comes through and says, no, that's not a legal play, that I would just concede the tournament in case I happen to win it, just so we didn't have to sit here for who knows how long waiting. And I was also 100% confident that would not happen. So on to game 3. He's going first. Ecclesia. I don't know how common Sacred Summon is. Emergence, I know I said I wasn't going to show their hands, but we already broke that rule, the Blackout and the Ashuna. So actually not the greatest of hands. I mean, I guess he's got Ecclesia, Emergence, Tenyi in hand, so he can special summon the Tenyi too. But he actually goes right for the Long Young, discard summon, get token, go for Fleur. So we get the Fleur and then burn for the 1200. Normal summon the Ecclesia. Special out the Taya, because obviously he doesn't have what he needs in hand. Taya effect. Banish Long, summon token. Effect of Ashuna, banish, summon Adhara. Now we're going to go into a Boxia. He wants to do this because we're playing Cyber Dragons, remember? So now he's going to send the Mo Yi. Then he can go for Chao Fang, who used a light monster. So as long as Chao Fang is on the field, I cannot, I cannot activate effects of monsters with the same original attribute. So I cannot activate light monsters. I'm playing Cyber Dragon. That's kind of a big deal. Game 3, this is what it all comes down to. So he's got the Long Young. Now he goes for a Cheeks Out, and he's going to get the draw off Mo Yi. He's going to grab Taya for more follow-up. So he's Long Young Taya, for his follow-up, draw 1 off the Mo Yi, which happens to be a hand trap. Sets the Blackout. So Omni Negate, Monster Negate, no light effects, pop 2, effect failure. Okay. I was literally telling myself, I sided in Twisters just in case. I would have rather him drew into a Infinite Impermanence because I have Twin Twisters. But I was like, okay, I got the Kaiju. I can get rid of the Chao Fang. That's easy. If I can hit the Twisters, then I don't have to play around the Blackout. I can play it a little bit different. Then I just got to play through the 2 negates, which I was like, I got Emergency, Repair, Soldier, and Fusion Destiny. I can play through 2 negates. I know 2 in hand, so it's just whatever he drew off the Mo Yi. I was feeling pretty good about this. So we go and search out the Cyber Dragon hers. He has to read it, so we'll let him see it quick. But then we Kaiju the Chao Fang, Twin Twisters the hers to get rid of the Blackout. And at that point, we're going to get Cyber Dragon. So we're going to special summon Cyber Dragon after we search out our core. Wanting him to search out core because, obviously that's a common play you're going to do with Cyber Dragon. And I wanted to get core in the graveyard for potential follow-up plays. So special Cyber Dragon, discard core for Galaxy Soldier with 2 in hand. he could still use the Baron negate here, and I'd be kind of SOL at that point. So he uses the Baron, or does not use the Baron, sorry. And now here with one in hand, it's like, okay, I could Galaxy Soldier, and then if he negates it with Cheeksao, I guess that would be good. But I really didn't expect him to. If he was going to negate it, I assumed it would be with the Baron, since then it would also destroy it and have one card in hand. He would still have the Cheeksao and the Effect Veiler. So I don't use Galaxy Soldier's effect because, like I said, if he negates it, I basically lose. So we summon out Nova, use the effect, because now either he negates it or he negates and destroys it, and then I can float it. Asking, no, he doesn't know my hand. So we go to special summon Cyber Dragon. He's gonna use the Cheeksao negate. The effect on banish doesn't really do anything, so it's like, okay, we force that out. Now guess what? We can make infinity, absorb, attack over, or infinity, absorb, sorry, try to bait, then he would negate, we negate, and then, you know, we resolve and end up taking control. However, there's that little effect veiler up here that obviously I did not know about, so we effect to attach, he negates, we negate, he negates. 5 disruptions that we had to try and play around. But luckily then Fusion Destiny is one hell of a card. Fusion Destiny DPE, attack over the Cheeksao. Soon, attack over the Cheeksao. Effective DPE, get rid of the Baron. DPE is going to come back. We know he has Long Young Taya in hand. He actually draws Mo Yi of everything. Special back the DPE. He leads with the Long Young, sending the Mo Yi summon token. And then he makes the level 10 guy, who is kind of a pain to deal with in his own right. He can protect himself, or when a card is banished, he can banish one from field and grave. So I was kind of confused here, because he goes right to battle phase, but he knows all I have is the Enforcer. Like, if he normals Taya, it doesn't matter what I do. Like, there's no scenario, like, he normal Taya, use effect that forces the DPE, or when he uses the Cheng Ying, it forces the DPE. So like, best case, worst case, best case, I have to pop like Taya token. I'd have to pop Kaiju, because otherwise he just has game right there, and then he just make, you know, another Cheeksao, and 28 and 33, because the boost would be more than enough, because Long Young's gonna burn the 1200 here in a second. We just didn't get that far. So he would have 28 and 33, which would be game, but he goes right to battle phase instead of playing, because there's nothing I could have did with the Enforcer to save myself. So I use Forcer, pop. Now I survive, and I was like, holy cow, we might actually do this. And then we see Taya come out. Banish, summon, because he gets the extra token off the blackout. And then we're going to go ahead here, summon the Cheeksao. Taya 2, Chi 1. Send the Ashuna, grab the Emergence. Emergence is now going to go get our favorite card in the entire deck, Protos. Protos is going to come out. So just like that, he could have already won, but he goes Protos, calls Dark. So at this point, I go check my grave. I was like, oh, heroes, dark, dark, dark. They're all darks. And I just kind of overrode it, or wrote it off. Not going to use Dasher to special summon this, because that doesn't do anything or help me. So main phase, we're going to Kaiju the Cheeksao, because I was like, okay, that's his disruption. We got rid of the negate. I can't summon darks. That's fine. And misreading this card a little bit about the banish. So I'm like, okay, banish core, summon Naxxor, revive Nova, make infinity, and then infinity can absorb this guy, attack, and then make Zeus and send the rest of the field. And then I have a Zeus against top deck. I can send again, and try to win. But we banish core, summon Naxter, and like I said, I misread the Chang Ying, and that actually, the core triggers his Chang Ying. So Naxter target Nova, Chang Ying, banish Naxter, and Nova. At that point, I did still have to draw 2 off the Celestial, and there's nothing that, like, knowing my deck, there's nothing that I could have had at this point to still win. So people are going to say, and I'm sure, like, if DB shows it, they'll be like, oh, he didn't use Celestial, like, he's horrible. But, like, knowing my deck, there's nothing I could have drawn into at this point that would win. The only thing I could have did was, before I banished core, if I would have did the Celestial to draw 2, if I would have drew into my 1 of Naxter or one of my other 2 copies of Emergency, I then could have just normal summoned it and did exactly what I said without banishing to trigger. But, like, trying to draw 1 of 3 with 30 cards left, it's not going to happen very often. But anyway, these were the replays from the tournament. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and we're going to get on into that deck profile. So this was the deck profile. Like I said, if you were part of the discussion on Facebook and everything, you're probably wondering on a bunch of it. So we'll start with the Cyber Dragon monsters. 2 Cyber Dragon, 3 core, 3 hers, 1 Naxter, 1 fear. 3 core and 3 hers for what the deck's doing is, nothing to explain. 3 core is very standard. 3 hers is virtually standard. 1 Naxter, I do like the 1. Some people play 2. Nothing against 2 at all. I like the 1. And I was going to play 3 Cyber Dragon. You see there's no machine dupe, so why would you play 3 Cyber Dragon with no dupe? Well, opening Cyber Dragon isn't a brick. You just special summon it. It's a free body. However, if you open multiples, it can be. So I didn't want that. So I played the 2, and then I cut the 1 for the fear because it's also a free body, and it can chain block for core. And unlike Cyber Dragon, it doesn't conflict if you Nibiru and have a monster. You can still get the free body then. So I thought about it. It's like, well, what if I go 2 Fear, 1 Cyber Dragon? But then I was like, that's also a free level 5, which ended up coming up that we saw there too, with the special summon Cyber Dragon, summon the soldier, and I can go into plays that way. So I wouldn't change that. Like, for this reasoning, I may potentially go back to just 1 Cyber Dragon because, possibly get rid of the fear because, like I said, using these tournaments for testing, but that's kind of the reasoning behind the fear and the 2 Cyber Dragons is free bodies. We're going second. They're free bodies. I'm not really sure how much else, like, just utility. No dupe. I do like 3 soldier in most of my no dupe builds. Especially, like, the goal here was high impact hand traps, forbidden droplet, try to prevent their board and win. Like, I wanted to play very upbeat and like a high pace. So that's with the 3 soldiers. Sometimes you open 2, it happens. People are going to say, oh, you open 2, that's why you don't play 3. Like, the odds of opening 2 are so low. They're actually higher than opening Fusion Destiny as much as I did in this tournament, though. Like, that was just good luck. That was just bad luck. Like, luck happens. RNG happens. 2 Kaiju plays into the, well, it's searchable, play 1. You don't want to have to rely on searching it because that means your cards are resolving, whereas if you open it, you can just out something. Well, if you want to open it, play 3. I don't necessarily want to open it. It's just nice if you do and don't have to search it. Like I said, because the deck just kind of works intricately. Like, I don't want to open, like, Kaiju with, multiple soldier. It's like, well, it's a light, but, like, it's not good resource economy. Like, your hands are, I don't know, like, the way to explain it's just kind of awkward. Like, I could have played 3, and I had played 3 in my last build and absolutely loved it, but at 2 it just felt like that worked better when I was doing all my test hands on the deck. Hand traps, this was a big one. So 3 Droll, 2 Lancia, 1 Nibiru, 3 Imperm. 3 Imperm, 3 Droll. Okay, everyone was pretty accepting of that. 2 Lancia, 1 Nibiru. I don't look at it as 2 of, 1 of, you know, why are you playing these weird ratios? I played 9 hand traps, and I tried to cater my 9 hand traps for variance and for what I planned on playing against. Again, this isn't like I'm going to a regional, I'm going to play this build. I wouldn't do that. I would change quite a few things around because now you have to play for, you know, 8 rounds against who knows what decks in some rounds. This is a 8-man cash tournament where I know what most of them are already playing. Droll hit every single one of them, at least to a degree. Nibiru isn't the greatest versus Invoked. It's not that great versus Tri-Brigade, like Bird Up. So, and on the off chance that a deck's just, it's not good against. But at the same time, I wanted variance from the Lancia because it's like, we'll just play 3 Lancia. You'll open it more. True. But opening 2 Lancia does nothing. Nibiru and Lancia actually can accomplish things. I will say I have debated since this tournament going 2-2-2 with the 3 hand trap, the 3 monsters. I debated going 2 Droll, 3 Lancia, 1 Nibiru. Gonna kind of bounce around depending on who's playing in these tournaments, because that's the biggest part about deck building is what decks are you gonna play against. If you know what decks you're gonna play against, you can build your deck to play against them. I think the standard you need to play 3 ofs, 3 ofs, 3 ofs is so overwritten, and I don't know. I've never really followed the curve or the popular thing. I'm also the same person who played 1 Ash, 1 Bell, 2 Meister during VW, like VFD format, because like I wanted to open 1 of 4. I didn't want to open Ash. I didn't want to open Bell. I didn't want to open Meister. I wanted to open 1 of them. And with 1-1-2, there was no chance I could open 1, 2, 3, or 4, and I would have 4 live copies. Like, there was no way that I could have a dead card by playing those ratios, and I think people just don't quite understand that part of deck building. If you look at it like, I have 9 hand traps. They're like, well, you have 2 ofs and 1 ofs. No, I have 9 hand traps. I want to open a hand trap. I have 9 hand traps. That's kind of the reasoning for that. And again, not saying anything in this deck is staying. This is just why I played this build in this tournament with these replays. Just kind of showing thought process on how like to build a deck for a bigger event. Dasher, Celestial, because we're playing the D Hero package. 3 Emergency, duh. Repair Plant, we're playing Soldier, you're going to play Repair Plant. Rev System, really considered cutting this card, but I was like, oh, I'm a little short on extenders. I want to put it back in. I wish I would have cut it. Like, I don't know. I didn't really want it. 2 Overload Fusion. Well, do you want to open it or don't you? It's that age-old debate. It's nice when you open it with the right hand. It's nice when you can search it off Verde. Like, I didn't necessarily want to open it, but a lot of the time I wasn't upset if I saw it. But playing it at 3, when you see it too much, now you're going to start to be upset when you see it. And I've just kind of liked it at 2. I was like, well, I played in the trap build, I play 1 with 1 cyber load, and it's kind of the same thing. Like, you can search it and access it when you need to. You're playing the 2, but when you open 1, it's actually halfway decent. So I just kind of, you know, went with it with 2 Overload Fusions. DPE package, play 3 Fusion Destiny. You saw how much I opened it. That wouldn't happen with 1. It's not a brick. Card's crazy. You can use your entire cyber hand to bait out all the negates and then just drop Fusion Destiny. Forbidden Droplet card's just so good. Prosperity directly went against what I was trying to do. I'm not trying to take apart their board, establish control, and get into a grindy game with them. The deck can grind, and the deck can break boards, and the deck can win past turn 1, but I was trying to be way more aggressive, so I went with Triple Tactics instead of Prosperity for that reason, because I can take their monster, I could draw 2, I could look at their hand, and not deal half damage. Called by the Grave, obviously you saw it didn't really come up. It's Called by the Grave. It's a sacky 1 of. Oh my goodness, I apologize guys. I am gonna try to edit this video tonight and then go to bed here in a second. Side deck, the 1 Scythe obviously, and then the others for what we're main decking, we have the 2 Lancia, 1 Nib. So here we have 2 Nib, 1 Lancia. Just in case back row, we have the triple cosmic, 2 twisters. Was going to run lightning storm, but last minute I was like, nope, twisters, quick effect, get rid of stuff. And then our going first cards, Sanctum and D Barrier. Absolutely love them. Would not change that. I would maybe, I don't know. I've really missed evenly matched. I really missed evenly matched. I'm gonna find a way to incorporate it, even if I main deck it again. I'm not too sure. Like potentially get rid of the 2 talents and rev system for evenly. Maybe drop Kaiju to 1 at that point. I don't know. We'll see where the deck takes us. Multiple Kaijus, Zeus, Mechaba, things like that in the format. So 2 Fortress, 1 Mega Fleet, 'cause that's all that's needed. 1 Rampage, 2 Fusion Spells, 1 target. That's okay, guys, because the goal isn't to resolve both. 1 Mechaba, summon it off your Nova, DPE, 2 Nova, 2 Infinity, 1 Zeus, pretty standards. Almirage, Seeger, Verde, and the Dagda in case. So that's kind of it, and some reasoning for it with some footage of me playing as well, and kind of how I was thinking through those matches. One of these times maybe we'll actually get the tournament win with Cyber Dragon, but until next time, guys, thank you for watching.